Captain Alara Frost stood at attention on the bridge of the UES Horizon, her eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel that had just dropped out of hyperspace near Mars. The ship was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, sleek, iridescent, and bristling with what appeared to be advanced weaponry. "Open a channel," Alara commanded, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through her body. This was humanity's first contact with an alien species, and everything hinged on what happened next. The viewscreen flickered to life, revealing a striking figure. The alien was tall, with skin that shimmered like polished metal and eyes that glowed with an inner light. Ilara's breath caught in her throat as she realized she was looking at a female warrior, her muscular frame adorned with intricate, glowing tattoos. "I am Commander Lyria of the Valkyrie Armada," the alien spoke, her voice a melodious blend of tones. "We come seeking allies against a great threat to the galaxy." Ilara straightened, meeting Lyria's gaze. "I'm Captain Alara Frost of Earth's United Space Fleet. We welcome you in peace and are open to discussion." As the conversation progressed, Ilara learned of the Novarians, a ruthless species bent on galactic domination. The Valkyries, despite their advanced technology and warrior culture, were losing ground. They had come to Earth seeking help, drawn by intercepted transmissions that hinted at humanity's potential. "Our scientists believe that humans possess a unique genetic trait," Lyria explained, "one that could be the key to defeating the Novarians." Ilara's mind raced with the implications. What trait? Lyria's expression turned grave. "Adaptability. Your species evolves at a rate unseen in the galaxy. We believe this could be weaponized against the Novarians." As the meeting concluded, Ilara felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She had been tasked with accompanying a small team to the Valkyrie mothership for further negotiations and potential scientific collaboration. "Choose your team wisely, Captain," Admiral Reyes cautioned as Ilara prepared to depart. "The fate of Earth, perhaps the entire galaxy, may rest on this alliance." Ilara nodded, her mind already sorting through potential candidates. She needed the best and brightest, those who could represent humanity's strengths and adapt to the challenges ahead. As she boarded the shuttle that would take her team to the Valkyrie ship, Ilara caught sight of Earth through a viewport. The blue marble hung suspended in the void, beautiful and fragile. She silently vowed to protect it, no matter the cost. The journey to the Valkyrie mothership was short but tense. Dr. Zain Malik, Earth's leading xenobiologist, peppered Ilara with questions about the aliens' physiology. Lieutenant Kira Chen, the security expert, remained vigilant, her hand never far from her weapon. As they docked with the massive alien vessel, Ilara took a deep breath. "Remember," she addressed her team, "we're not just representing Earth. We're here to forge an alliance that could save the galaxy. Let's make it count." The airlock hissed open, revealing a corridor that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Commander Lyria stood waiting, flanked by two imposing Valkyrie warriors. Ilara stepped forward, extending her hand in the human gesture of greeting. What happened next would change the course of galactic history. As Lyria reached out to reciprocate, her fingers brushed against Ilara's palm. A visible spark of energy crackled between them, causing both women to gasp and step back. The Valkyrie guards immediately raised their weapons, but Lyria held up a hand to stop them. "Impossible," she breathed, staring at Ilara with a mix of wonder and fear. You touched me." Ilara, confused by the reaction, looked to her team for answers. Dr. Malik stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding caution. "Is physical contact significant in your culture, Commander?" Lyria nodded, still visibly shaken. "For centuries, our people have been unable to touch any other species without experiencing extreme pain. It's why we've remained isolated, why we've struggled to form lasting alliances." The implications hit Ilara like a thunderbolt. This wasn't just about forming a military alliance anymore. They had stumbled upon something that could fundamentally change Valkyrie society, and perhaps turn the tide in the war against the Novarians. As the human team was escorted deeper into the ship, whispers and stares followed them. News of the touch spread rapidly through the Valkyrie ranks, and Elara could sense the mixture of hope and apprehension in the air. They arrived at a vast chamber that Lyria introduced as the Hall of Strategies. Holographic displays showed star systems and fleet movements, painting a grim picture of the war's progress. "Now you understand why we sought you out," Lyria said, gesturing to the maps. "The Novarians advance relentlessly. We've lost entire systems, millions of lives. If they reach Earth..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Elara and her team exchanged grim looks, the reality of the threat sinking in. "We'll help however we can," Elara declared, her voice firm with resolve. "But I need to understand more about this compatibility we seem to have. It could be crucial." Lyria nodded, then made a decision that would alter the course of the war. "Captain Frost, I'm granting you and your team unprecedented access to our research facilities. Work with our scientists. If we can understand why you can touch us without harm, we might find a way to replicate it." As they left the Hall of Strategies, Elara's mind whirled with possibilities. They had come seeking a military alliance, but had found something far more profound. The key to victory might lie not in weapons or tactics, but in the simple act of human touch. Little did they know, the Novarians were already aware of their meeting. As the humans and Valkyries began their collaboration, a Novarian scout ship lurked at the edge of the solar system, gathering intelligence that would soon set in motion a chain of events that would test the fledgling alliance to its very limits. The fate of 2 species, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested in Elara's hands. The real challenge was just beginning. As days turned into weeks, the human delegation integrated into life aboard the Valkyrie mothership. Dr. Zayn Malik worked tirelessly alongside Valkyrie scientists, studying the peculiar interaction between human and Valkyrie physiology. Lieutenant Kira Chen collaborated with Valkyrie tacticians, combining human guerrilla warfare tactics with advanced alien technology. But it was Captain Elara Frost who found herself at the center of a cultural revolution. The Valkyries, a species long isolated by their inability to touch others, were fascinated by Elara's presence. Whispers followed her through the ship's corridors. Some Valkyries regarded her with hope, others with suspicion. Elara felt the weight of their expectations with every step. One evening, as Elara was reviewing battle plans with Commander Lyria, a young Valkyrie burst into the room. "Commander, we've had a breakthrough." Dr. Malik followed close behind, his eyes bright with excitement. "Captain, we've isolated the genetic marker that allows humans to touch Valkyries without harm. We believe we can use this to create a kind of buffer field." Lyria's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes," Malik nodded. "We might be able to allow Valkyries to touch other species, and each other, safely." The implications were staggering. Centuries of isolation could end. The Valkyries could forge new alliances, strengthen their forces against the Novarian threat. But not everyone welcomed this change. Admiral Vax, a hardline traditionalist among the Valkyrie High Command, stormed into the room. "This is heresy," he bellowed. "Our isolation has kept us pure, strong. We cannot risk contamination for the sake of these humans." The room erupted into argument. Elara watched as years of pent-up frustration and fear bubbled to the surface. She caught Lyria's eye and saw the conflict there, hope warring with centuries of ingrained caution. Making a split-second decision, Elara stepped forward. "Enough." Her voice cut through the chaos. All eyes turned to her. "I understand your fears," she said, addressing Admiral Vax directly. "Change is terrifying, especially when it challenges everything you've known. But isolation hasn't made you strong, it's made you vulnerable. The Novarians are coming, and they don't care about your purity. They'll destroy you all the same." She turned, meeting the eyes of each Valkyrie in the room. "But together we have a chance. Humanity's adaptability, your advanced technology. We can face this threat not as separate species, but as allies, as friends. A heavy silence fell over the room. Then, slowly, Commander Lyria stepped forward. Without a word, she extended her hand to Ilara. The simple gesture carried the weight of centuries. Ilara took Lyria's hand, and a visible ripple of energy passed between them. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Even Admiral Vax seemed taken aback. "This is our future," Lyria declared, her voice ringing with authority. "A future where we are no longer alone. A future where we are strong enough to face any threat." The mood in the room shifted palpably. Even those who had been skeptical seemed swayed by the power of the moment. As the meeting dispersed, Dr. Malik approached Ilara, his expression serious. "Captain, there's something you need to know. The genetic marker we isolated, it's not present in all humans. You're special, Captain. Your DNA holds the key to this breakthrough." Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. She was no longer just a diplomat or a soldier. She had become a symbol, a bridge between two species. The responsibility was enormous. But there was no time to dwell on personal implications. Alarms blared throughout the ship, and Lyria's voice came over the intercom. "All hands to battle stations. Novarian scout ships detected in the system." Ilara raced to the bridge, her heart pounding. The main view screen showed a cluster of sleek, predatory ships emerging from hyperspace near Jupiter. "They found us," Lyria said grimly as Ilara arrived. "And where scouts go, the main fleet follows," Ilara finished. She stared at the enemy ships, her mind racing. "We're not ready. The buffer field technology isn't perfected. Our forces aren't integrated." Lyria's expression was grim but determined. "Then we'll have to accelerate our plans. Captain Frost, your people have a saying, don't they? Necessity is the mother of invention." Ilara nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "Get me a direct line to Earth, and prepare a shuttle. If we're going to win this war, we need to bring the fight to them." As Lyria barked orders and the Valkyrie ship hummed with preparations for battle, Ilara steeled herself for what was to come. The fate of two worlds now rested on her shoulders, and failure was not an option. The Novarians were coming, and the real test of the human-Valkyrie alliance was about to begin. The UES Horizons bridge buzzed with frantic activity as Captain Ilara Frost stepped out of the shuttle. Admiral Reyes greeted her, his face etched with concern. "Captain, the situation has escalated. Novarian ships have been detected throughout the solar system. We're looking at a full-scale invasion." Ilara nodded grimly. "Admiral, I need to address the United Earth Council immediately. What I'm about to propose may sound radical, but it's our best chance for survival." Within the hour, Ilara stood before the holographic projections of Earth's leaders. She took a deep breath, acutely aware of the weight of her words. "Distinguished councillors, the threat we face is unprecedented. The Novarians possess technology far beyond our own, and their numbers are vast. But we have an advantage they don't expect: our alliance with the Valkyries." Murmurs rippled through the council as Ilara outlined her plan: a joint human-Valkyrie defense force, sharing of advanced technology, and most controversially, a program to identify humans with a special genetic marker that allowed interaction with Valkyries. "We're not just fighting for Earth," Ilara concluded. "We're fighting for the future of two species, and perhaps the entire galaxy. We must act now, and we must act together." Debate erupted among the councillors. Some voiced support, others skepticism. But as reports of Novarian attacks on outer colonies flooded in, the reality of the situation became clear. Council President Adama stepped forward. "Captain Frost, your plan is approved. You have the full backing of Earth's resources. Make it count." As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to find Commander Lyria waiting. The Valkyrie's expression was a mix of admiration and concern. "Your people have agreed so quickly to such drastic measures." Ilara managed a wry smile. "It's a human trait, Lyria. When our backs are against the wall, we're capable of extraordinary things. The next weeks were a whirlwind of activity. On Earth, recruitment centers were overwhelmed as volunteers lined up to be tested for the Valkyrie-compatible gene. Factories were retooled to produce hybrid weapons based on Valkyrie designs. And in orbit, human and Valkyrie ships began joint training exercises. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural clashes were inevitable. Human soldiers struggled to adapt to Valkyrie battle tactics, while Valkyries found human unpredictability both fascinating and frustrating. Alara found herself constantly mediating disputes, bridging the gap between two vastly different species. It was exhausting work, but every small victory, every moment of understanding between human and Valkyrie, gave her hope. Dr. Malik's team made steady progress on the buffer field technology. Early tests allowed Valkyries to touch other species for brief periods without pain. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. As Alara observed one such test, Lyria approached her. "Your Dr. Malik is a genius. This changes everything for my people." Alara nodded, watching as a Valkyrie soldier cautiously shook hands with a human counterpart. "It's more than just a tactical advantage. It's a chance for your people to connect, to form real bonds." Lyria's expression softened, like the bond forming between our species. Between us? Alara felt a flutter in her chest, surprised by the intensity of Lyria's gaze. Before she could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain Frost, Commander Lyria, we've detected a massive Novarian fleet entering the solar system. They'll reach Earth's orbit in less than 48 hours. The moment of connection shattered, replaced by grim reality. Lyria's face hardened into the mask of a warrior. "It's time, then." Alara nodded, already moving towards the command center. "Time to see if all our preparations have been enough." As they raced through the corridors, Alara's mind whirled with tactical considerations. Their forces were still integrating, the buffer field technology not fully perfected, but they were out of time. They burst onto the bridge of the Valkyrie mothership, now serving as the joint command center for the Human-Valkyrie Alliance. Holographic displays showed the approaching Novarian Armada, a vast swarm of ships that seemed to blot out the stars themselves. Admiral Vax, who had gradually come to accept the alliance, stepped forward. "Our long-range scans confirm it. This is the bulk of the Novarian invasion force. If we fall here—" "We won't fall," Alara declared, her voice ringing with conviction. She turned to address the assembled human and Valkyrie officers. "Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. We're not just two species fighting side by side. We're a united force, stronger together than we ever were apart." She met Lyria's eyes, drawing strength from the Valkyrie commander's unwavering gaze. "Humanity's adaptability, Valkyrie technology, and the bond we forged between us. That's what the Novarians can't account for. That's how we win." A cheer went up from both humans and Valkyries. As the officers dispersed to their stations, Lyria stepped close to Alara. "Whatever happens," the Valkyrie said softly, "it has been an honor to fight alongside you, Alara Frost." Alara felt a surge of emotions, fear, determination, and something deeper she wasn't ready to name. She clasped Lyria's arm in the Valkyrie warrior tradition. "The honor is mine, Lyria. Now, let's go save the galaxy." As the Allied fleet moved into defensive positions around Earth, Alara stared out at the approaching Novarian Armada. The next few hours would determine the fate of two worlds and the future of the galaxy itself. The final battle was about to begin. With the Novarian threat looming, the next 48 hours became a frantic race against time. Earth's orbit buzzed with activity as the combined human-Valkyrie fleet prepared for the impending battle. Alara found herself at the heart of this whirlwind, coordinating last-minute training exercises and strategy sessions. She stood on the bridge of the Valkyrie mothership, now renamed Unity, watching as human and Valkyrie ships maneuvered in complex formations. "They're adapting well," Lyria observed, coming to stand beside her. "Your people learn quickly." Elara nodded, a hint of pride in her voice. "It's what we do best. But we couldn't have come this far without Valkyrie technology and tactics." Their conversation was interrupted by Dr. Malik, who burst onto the bridge, his eyes wild with excitement. "Captain, Commander, we had a breakthrough with the buffer field." He quickly explained that they had managed to create a stable field that could extend to entire ships, allowing Valkyries to operate in close proximity with humans without risk. "This changes everything," Lyria breathed. "We can integrate our forces even further." Elara's mind raced with the tactical possibilities. "Dr. Malik, how quickly can we outfit our fleet with this technology?" The scientist's face fell slightly. "That's the catch, Captain. We only have enough resources to equip about a third of our ships in the time we have left." A tense silence fell over the bridge. Elara exchanged a glance with Lyria, both leaders understanding the weight of the decision before them. "We'll have to be strategic," Elara said finally. "Equip our frontline ships and our most integrated squadrons. The rest will have to manage with what we've got." As Dr. Malik hurried off to begin the modifications, Elara turned to address the bridge crew. "I need our best pilots and tacticians. We're going to run combat simulations non-stop until the Novarians arrive." The next hours were a blur of activity. Elara found herself jumping between strategy sessions, overseeing the buffer field installations and running combat drills. She pushed herself and everyone around her to the limit, knowing that every second of preparation could mean the difference between victory and annihilation. In one of the rare quiet moments, Elara found herself alone with Lyria in an observation deck, staring out at the stars. The Valkyrie commander looked troubled. "What's on your mind?" Elara asked softly. Lyria was silent for a moment before responding. "I've led my people into battle many times, Elara, but never with stakes this high. If we fail..." Elara placed a hand on Lyria's arm, feeling the now familiar tingle of energy between them. "We won't fail. Look at what we've already accomplished. Humans and Valkyries working side by side. It's unprecedented." Lyria's expression softened, her glowing eyes meeting Elara's. "You give me hope, Elara Frost. For my people, for this alliance, for the future." The moment was interrupted by Lieutenant Chen's voice over the intercom. "Captain, Commander, you're needed on the bridge. We've detected Novarian scout ships entering the system." Reality crashed back in. Elara and Lyria exchanged a look of determination before racing to the bridge. The main view screen showed a cluster of sleek, predatory ships emerging from hyperspace near Mars. Their design was alien and menacing, all sharp angles and pulsing energy weapons. "They're probing our defenses," Admiral Vax growled. "The main fleet won't be far behind." Elara's mind raced. This was their chance to test their integrated forces, to show the Novarians what they were up against. She turned to Lyria, seeing the same thought reflected in the Valkyrie's eyes. "Scramble our frontline squadrons," Elara ordered. "Mixed human and Valkyrie crews. Let's show these scouts what they're really dealing with." As the order went out, Elara felt a surge of pride watching human and Valkyrie pilots rush to their ships, moving with a coordination that would have been unthinkable just weeks ago. The ensuing skirmish was brief but intense. The Novarian scouts, caught off guard by the unexpected alliance and the seamless integration of human and Valkyrie tactics, were quickly overwhelmed. As the last enemy ship exploded in a brilliant flash, a cheer went up across the fleet. It was a small victory, but a significant one. They had proven that their alliance could work in real combat situations. But there was no time to celebrate. Long-range sensors were lighting up with alerts. The main Novarian fleet had arrived. Elara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. She looked around the bridge, seeing determination on every face, human and Valkyrie alike. "This is it," she declared, her voice carrying across the command network to every ship in the fleet. "Everything we've worked for, everything we've trained for, comes down to this moment. We're not just fighting for Earth or for the Valkyrie homeworld. We're fighting for the right of all species to live free from tyranny." She paused, letting her words sink in. The Novarians think they're invincible. They think their advanced technology and vast numbers make them unstoppable. But they've never faced anything like us before. Human ingenuity, Valkyrie strength, and the unbreakable bond we forged between our peoples. Ilara's voice rose, filled with passion and conviction. "Together, we are more than the sum of our parts. Together, we will show the Novarians and the entire galaxy what true unity can accomplish. For Earth, for the Valkyries, for freedom." A resounding cheer echoed across the fleet. Ilara caught Lyria's eye, seeing fierce pride and something deeper reflected there. As the Novarian armada approached, blotting out the stars with their sheer numbers, Ilara gave the order that would echo through history. "All ships, battle formation, engage the enemy." The final battle for the fate of two worlds and the galaxy itself had begun. The void of space erupted into chaos as the human Valkyrie fleet clashed with the Novarian armada. Energy weapons lanced across the darkness, missiles streaked between ships, and fighters darted through the melee like angry hornets. From the bridge of the Unity, Ilara and Lyria coordinated the defense, their minds working in perfect sync. Human adaptability merged with Valkyrie battle prowess, creating strategies the Novarians had never encountered before. "Gamma Squadron, flank the enemy dreadnought," Ilara ordered. "Valkyrie cruisers, provide covering fire." The battle raged for hours, a brutal dance of destruction and survival. The Allied fleet fought with everything they had, but the Novarians' numbers seemed endless. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Unity. Multiple breaches detected. Lieutenant Chen shouted, "Enemy boarding parties incoming." Ilara and Lyria exchanged a grim look. "We can't let them take the ship," Lyria said. "The buffer field generator is here. If they get their hands on it." "They won't," Ilara replied firmly. She turned to Admiral Vax. "Take command of the fleet. We'll handle the intruders." As they raced through the corridors, arming themselves with hybrid human Valkyrie weapons, Ilara couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. This was the moment of truth, where their training and newfound unity would be put to the ultimate test. They encountered the first group of Novarians near the engine room. The aliens were tall, insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and exoskeletons that seemed to shimmer with energy. Ilara and Lyria moved as one, their fighting styles complementing each other perfectly. Ilara's quick, unpredictable movements kept the Novarians off balance, while Lyria's raw strength and precision dealt devastating blows. As they fought their way through the ship, more of the crew, both human and Valkyrie, joined them. The buffer field technology allowed them to fight side by side without hindrance, creating a formidable force. But the Novarians were relentless. For every invader they took down, two more seemed to appear. Ilara felt fatigue setting in, saw the strain on her comrades' faces. Then, in a moment of horror, she saw a Novarian energy blade slice through Lyria's armor. The Valkyrie commander stumbled, blue blood seeping from the wound. "Lyria!" Ilara cried out, fighting her way to her friend's side. She dragged Lyria into cover, her heart pounding with fear and something deeper she could no longer deny. "I'm all right," Lyria gasped, though her face was contorted with pain. "We can't stop. The buffer field generator." Ilara made a split-second decision. "I'll go. You stay here and coordinate the defense." Before Lyria could protest, Ilara was moving, charging through the Novarian lines with reckless abandon. She fought her way to the generator room, her mind focused on one thought: protect the technology that had brought their people together. Inside, she found Dr. Malik desperately trying to hold off a group of Novarians. Ilara joined the fray, her hybrid weapon cutting through the aliens' defenses. As the last Novarian fell, Ilara turned to Malik. "We need to protect the generator at all costs. Any ideas?" The scientist's eyes lit up. "Actually, yes." If we can overload the generator, we might be able to create a massive buffer field. It could disrupt the Novarians' energy weapons and armor. Do it, Ilara ordered, taking up a defensive position at the door. I'll hold them off. As Malik worked feverishly, Ilara fought wave after wave of Novarians. Her arms ached, her lungs burned, but she refused to give in. Too much depended on their success. Just when she thought she couldn't fight any longer, she heard Malik shout, "It's ready." Ilara dove towards the generator as Malik activated the overload. A blinding light filled the room, and Ilara felt a strange tingling sensation wash over her. When her vision cleared, she saw the Novarians writhing in agony, their energy weapons and armor sputtering and failing. "It worked," Malik exclaimed. "The field is affecting their technology." Ilara wasted no time. She relayed the information to the fleet, ordering all ships to fall back and regroup around the Unity. As the Allied forces pulled back, the massive buffer field expanded, engulfing more and more of the Novarian fleet. Ships began to drift powerless, their weapons and shields disabled. From the bridge, Ilara watched in awe as the tide of battle turned. Human and Valkyrie ships, now immune to the Novarians' most potent weapons, tore through the enemy fleet with renewed vigor. Lyria, her wound hastily treated, joined Ilara on the bridge. They stood side by side, watching as victory drew near. "We did it," Lyria said softly, her hand finding Ilara's. Ilara squeezed Lyria's hand, feeling the energy pulse between them. "No," she replied. "We did it. All of us together." As the last Novarian ships fled or surrendered, a cheer went up across the fleet. Human and Valkyrie voices joined as one, celebrating not just their victory, but the birth of a new era of cooperation. Ilara knew that challenges lay ahead, rebuilding, integrating their societies, dealing with the remnants of the Novarian threat. But looking at Lyria, seeing the hope and affection in her eyes, Ilara felt ready to face whatever the future might bring. Together, they had saved Earth, the Valkyrie homeworld, and perhaps the galaxy itself. And in doing so, they had forged a bond that would reshape the stars. The battle was over. Now, the real work of building a united future could begin. The days following the Novarian defeat were a whirlwind of activity. As the dust settled, the true scale of their victory became apparent. Not only had they saved Earth and the Valkyrie homeworld, but they had also struck a decisive blow against a threat that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Ilara found herself at the center of it all, working tirelessly to coordinate recovery efforts and strengthen the newfound alliance. She stood on the observation deck of the Unity, watching as human and Valkyrie ships worked side by side to clear the debris of battle from Earth's orbit. "It's quite a sight, isn't it?" Lyria's voice came from behind her. The Valkyrie commander joined Ilara at the window, her presence a comforting warmth at Ilara's side. "Sometimes I still can't believe we pulled it off," Ilara admitted. "A month ago, we'd never even met. Now look at us." Lyria's hand found Ilara's, their fingers intertwining. The touch, once impossible, now felt as natural as breathing. "We've only just begun, Ilara. There's so much more we can accomplish together." Their moment was interrupted by Dr. Malik, who burst onto the deck with his usual enthusiasm. "Captain, Commander, I have incredible news about the buffer field technology." The scientist explained that they had made a breakthrough in miniaturizing the technology. Soon, individual Valkyries would be able to interact safely with other species without the need for ship-wide fields. "This changes everything," Lyria breathed, her eyes wide with the possibilities. Ilara nodded, her mind already racing with the implications. "We need to convene a joint council. It's time to discuss the future of our alliance." The following week saw the first ever Human Valkyrie Summit, held in a specially constructed space station orbiting Earth. Leaders from both species gathered to chart a course for their shared future. Ilara and Lyria found themselves at the heart of the negotiations, their unique bond and shared experiences making them the perfect bridge between their peoples. We propose the formation of a galactic defense coalition, Ilara announced to the assembled delegates. A joint force combining the strengths of both our species, dedicated to protecting not just our worlds, but any who seek our aid against threats like the Novarians. The proposal was met with enthusiasm from both sides. Plans were quickly drawn up for joint training programs, technology exchanges, and even cultural integration initiatives. As the summit progressed, Ilara was struck by how seamlessly humans and Valkyries were beginning to work together. The buffer field technology had opened doors, but it was the shared experience of battle and the recognition of each other's strengths that had truly brought them together. One evening, as the summit was winding down, Ilara found Lyria standing alone on a balcony overlooking Earth. The Valkyrie's expression was pensive, her glowing eyes reflecting the blue marble below. "Credit for your thoughts?" Ilara asked, joining her. Lyria turned, a smile softening her features. "I was just thinking about how much has changed. For centuries, my people lived in isolation, fearing contact with others. Now we stand on the brink of a new age. It's overwhelming." Ilara took Lyria's hand, feeling the now familiar tingle of energy between them. Change can be scary, but look at what we've accomplished already. Together, there's nothing we can't face. Lyria's gaze met Ilara's, intensity burning in her otherworldly eyes. Together, she repeated softly. Then, with a gentleness that belied her warrior's strength, she leaned in and pressed her lips to Ilara's. The kiss was electric, a fusion of two worlds, two species finding harmony. When they parted, both were breathless. "I've been wanting to do that for a while," Lyria admitted, a rare blush coloring her metallic skin. Ilara grinned, her heart soaring. "Me too. I guess some things are universal after all." Their moment was interrupted by a comm alert. "Captain Frost, Commander Lyria, you're needed in the council chamber. We're receiving a transmission from the Novarian Empire." Exchanging a look of surprise and determination, Ilara and Lyria hurried to the chamber. The mood was tense as the transmission was put through. A holographic image flickered to life, revealing a Novarian leader. Its insectoid features were hard to read, but its posture suggested defeat. Representatives of Earth and the Valkyrie Imperium, the Novarian spoke, its voice a strange, clicking cadence. "We request terms for surrender." A shocked silence fell over the chamber. Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady. "We will discuss terms, but know this, the era of Novarian aggression is over. We offer you a choice. Join us in building a peaceful galaxy, or face the combined might of our alliance." As negotiations began, Ilara felt a profound sense of hope. They had not just won a war, they had changed the course of galactic history. In the months and years that followed, the Human-Valkyrie alliance flourished. Joint colonies were established, cultural exchanges blossomed, and the buffer field technology allowed for unprecedented interspecies cooperation. The Galactic Defense Coalition became a beacon of hope for oppressed worlds across the galaxy. More species joined their cause, creating a diverse and powerful force for peace. And at the heart of it all were Ilara and Lyria, their leadership and their love a symbol of what could be achieved when different peoples came together. As they stood on the bridge of a new exploration vessel, preparing to chart unknown regions of space, Ilara looked at Lyria and smiled. "Ready for our next adventure?" Lyria's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining. "Always, as long as we're together." The stars stretched out before them, full of possibility. The human male may have dared to get close to the beautiful warrior race, but it was the bonds forged in adversity and the power of unity that had truly changed the galaxy forever. As their ship jumped to hyperspace, Ilara knew that this was just the beginning. Whatever challenges the universe held, they would face them as one. Human and Valkyrie, united in purpose and in love, ready to write the next chapter in their shared cosmic story.